Hi, I'm Leon, the founder of Audio Advice. This video is on the new Pro-Ject Debut Pro. I'll take a look at its great features and also go over how it compares to the very popular Debut Evo. The original Pro-Ject Debut turntable is without question one of the best-selling turntables of all time. It has gone through several revisions to improve its performance over its 30-year history. In 2020, Pro-Ject came out with the latest version called the Evo. From the first time I played around with the Evo, I could tell it was going to be an outstanding value. I also love the way Pro-Ject gives up upgrade path on the Debut line to make it sound even better over time. I did a video on these upgrades you'll find a link to in the description. Since their humble beginnings in 1991, Pro-Ject Audio Systems has grown to become one of the largest suppliers of performance two-channel audio components in the world. Pro-Ject is quite unique in this age of globalization. They're headquartered just north of Vienna in a 131,000 square foot facility that is one of the most environmentally friendly buildings I've ever seen. They also have turntable-specific plants in Germany and the Czech Republic, with 2 other factories for electronics in Slovakia. I have to compliment them on keeping everything in-house, as it certainly has proven successful over time, with Pro-Ject components lasting for decades. For the 30th anniversary of the original Pro-Ject turntable, Pro-Ject is introducing a new model called the Debut Pro. They refer to it as their audiophile-grade turntable. When you first look at the Debut Pro compared to the Evo, you'll notice some differences. However, in some areas the two tables do seem pretty similar. I thought it would be fun to dive into the Pro and see how it compares to the Evo to help you make a better decision if you're considering something like the Evo or better. I did a deep dive on the Debut Evo when it first came out. The link to that is in the description below. When you look at the Debut Pro, it becomes obvious Pro-Ject took all of the great things they incorporated into the Evo and took that marvelous foundation and upgraded 2 of the most critical parts of any turntable. The Evo just offers so much for the money, I would be remiss if I did not go over briefly some of the technology you'll find both in the Evo and the Pro. The isolation feet used on both models incorporate TPE, or thermoplastic elastomer damping material. This material greatly reduces resonance, and I like the fact the feet are pretty large and are height adjustable too. Pro-Ject took some tech from their add-on speed box and added it to the motor control for both models. A precision crystal is used to generate the signal that goes to the motor, which gives it extremely good speed accuracy. Getting something like this for this price range of either of these tables is pretty amazing. Both tables give you a way to easily switch between 33 and 45 without having to change the belt, and for 78 lovers, you can switch out the belt and play 78s too. The Evo hides the switch on the underside of the plinth, while the Pro has a little toggle switch on top. And speaking of the plinth, they're made of the same material, but Pro-Ject decided to make the Pro in a basic black finish, while the Evo can be had in 9 different colors. When Pro-Ject updated the Evo, they made a massive change to the motor and mount they took from their upper-end X1 turntable. They added a large steel plate to better shield the platter from the motor. The mounting plate then gets TPE washers on both sides to keep any vibrations from the motor from making it into the bearing well. Both the Pro and Evo have the same isolation system. The US version of the Evo includes the Sumiko Rainier phono cartridge. Sumiko is the US importer of Pro-Ject and set out several years ago to design a budget-friendly series of phono cartridges that had far greater performance than you would expect for their cost. They worked with a team of engineers in Yokohama, Japan to come up with 3 new models. These have been heralded by reviewers all over the world for their very musical sound. I like the way they all use the same anti-resonant body and special generator, but get a much better stylus tip as you move up the line. This way, when your Rainier stylus needs replacing, you can upgrade by purchasing either a Moonstorm or Olympia stylus. And for 78 fans, you can purchase a 78 stylus to use with the Rainier for your 78s. The stylus just slides in and out pretty easily. The Pro also uses the Rainier, which for me made comparing these 2 models a very interesting listening experience. Both the Pro and Evo share the same high-performance connectors and include the Connect-E cable. The rear panel has 2 solid gold-plated RCA connectors. This allows you to upgrade the included cable should you wish, but Pro-Ject gives you a good one. It has even been specific length they found to sound best at 1.23 meters. Now I'll get to the parts where the Pro takes the lead. Two of the most important aspects of any turntable are the tone arm and platter. This is where the Pro takes a big jump up from the Evo. The Evo platter is a 4-pound piece of steel with a TPE damping ring on the outer edge. This is a fantastic platter for a turntable in this price range. The Pro changes to a one-piece aluminum platter. The outer edge now has another ring inside the TPE ring for an even better flywheel effect. The center of the platter is indented just slightly for using the optional add-on Pro record weight. Another important distinction between aluminum and steel is you can now install moving coil cartridges on the Pro. Steel platters just don't play well with moving coils and their powerful magnets. But the huge jump in audio performance is the tone arm. The job of a tone arm is to simply support your phono cartridge as its stylus traces the grooves of the record. It should be friction-free in both the vertical and horizontal plane and add zero noise. When you think about how microscopic the grooves of a record are, this task is a lot harder than it sounds. That is why you'll find at the very extreme of audio some tone arms that cost more than a nice car. It takes great engineering and precision manufacturing to produce a great tone arm. Pro-Ject has the benefit of their own in-house CNC machines to make anything they want to incredibly tight standards. The bearing housing starts out as a single block of aluminum and is precision cut to extreme tolerances. I love to play around with tone arms to see if we can find any bearing chatter, and found while the Pro is not perfect, it has far less than the Evo arm. The tone arm tube is made of a sandwich type construction with an aluminum tube on the inside to damp out vibrations, wrapped in carbon fiber for strength. The counterweight even has internal damping inside its shell to help reduce any resonance. And the final icing on the cake is the fact both vertical tracking angle and azimuth adjustments are on the Pro arm, a first for a debut model. This means you can put just about any cartridge you want on it and get it fine-tuned. I set up both turntables in a high-performance 2-channel audio system to enable me to hear the differences the tone arm and platter would make on the Pro, if any. I checked out the stylus on both tables under a microscope to confirm they look the same. Then I checked the alignment of both using the Pro-Ject gauge. I then made sure they were both precisely set to 2 grams of tracking force. I do have to call out the Pro here though. It was extremely finicky to get the tracking set just right, as tiny changes in the counterweight made a big move. This made me decide to create a video on how to set up the Pro. We provide a link to Audio Advice customers to help them get everything perfect. To further geek out, I physically moved the same external power supply back and forth between the two, along with the connected E tone arm cable. At this point, I was sure any differences I would detect would be related to the arm and platter improvements. To do my testing, I pulled out some vinyl with challenging sections from both a tracking perspective and a rhythm and pacing test. These were the 2020 great repressing of Joan Armatrading's title album, the first track Down to Zero, Robert Cray's Strong Persuader Smoking Gun for tracking, and my favorite rhythm and pacing test, John Cougar Mellencamp, Pink Houses. First, I played the Evo and was once again amazed how great this table sounds for the money. It really is incredible. However, after the first Joan Armatrading cut, when I switched to the Pro, it was an entirely different ballgame. I hate to be so blunt, but it made the Evo sound like it was mistracking in comparison. Her voice was just so much smoother with zero trace of sibilance that I'd heard a little bit on the Evo. Everything sounded so much more effortless as well. As I kept flipping back and forth on this cut, it became clear there was just less distortion on the Pro, which gave it a smoother and sweeter sound. Moving on to Smoking Gun, I heard similar changes on the guitar, although they were not as obvious as on the female voice on the first cut. But the whole character was warmer and more free-flowing on the Pro. Finally, Pink Houses had my toes tapping pretty well on the Evo, but switching to the Pro brought it to an extra level of warmth, bigger sound field, and an even better feeling of the band being in the room. The specs on the Pro versus the Evo also point this out, as both the speed drift and wow and flutter measurements are better on the Pro due to the flywheel effect of the improved platter. As I've said many times, the Evo is just an amazing turntable for its cost. The fact that there are so many upgrades available, including the stylus, is very impressive. However, all of those same upgrades can apply to the Pro, including even moving up to a much better high-end moving coil cartridge design due to the aluminum platter and fully adjustable tone arm. On a good system, I think the difference will be obvious to most people with less distortion and a smoother, bigger, and more fun to listen to analog presentation. Remember, the sound begins at your turntable, and if it's not captured there, nothing else in your chain can bring it back. I hope this overview will give you a good idea of the differences between the Evo and the Pro. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to us at audioadvice.com via phone, email, or chat, or visit one of our stores. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our latest content. We'll see you next time.